Hello, I'm Payne Walker, candidate for Fort Walton Beach City Council, one of 4 open seats. They're up for election. That election is March the 14th. If you haven't voted by mail already, I encourage you to show up on election day to your polling station. Bring a family member, friend, neighbor. I believe this election is very important for the mere fact of needing to, in my opinion, change a lot of what's been going on at City Hall, the way it's been happening. And a great way to do that would be to have a historic turnout, people showing up to express their will that they want to change of how things have been happening at City Hall. I believe there's a good group of people running this time that I'll be supporting that I believe will be representative of change, changing the status quo. Those are Larry Patrick, long-term business owner, businessman in the community, also a former city council member at Fort Walton Beach City. He knows, he's been watching the same time I have and longer. He knows what goes on down there, how it's been going on, and like me, he's disgusted, for lack of better words, saddened by what's been going on down there in the form of representation, stewardship of our money. I know he'll be a good candidate. Even if I'm not elected, I'd like to see Larry up there be my representative, our representative. Also, Gloria DeBerry, longtime engaged citizen with Fort Walton Beach City Council. She too knows what's going on down there. She knows what's been going on, what they say they will do and what they don't do. And she holds their feet to the fire. So like Larry, I feel that if Gloria becomes my representative, she'll be a good representative for us all, and knowing that the most important thing in representation is the will of the people. Bryce Jeter, this is his first time running for city council. Met with him in private. I've spoken with him several times since. Had several questions for him to check his theories on operations of government, responsibilities, roles and duties, and representation. And he too is a businessman in the community, longtime family name here in the community. Also a father of I think 4 or 5 kids. I know that's a management job in itself. I have 2. And that was tough enough growing up, getting them to grown up. But meeting with him, speaking with him, I feel confident that if Bryce is elected as my representative, he will represent the community well. And so those will be who I'm supporting. Of course, I'm voting for myself. I've been watching City Hall closely. I've been educating myself and trying to figure out what's wrong and what's right. And now it's my time, if I'm elected, to institute and practice those principles. So today, this video is intended to do just that. If you've here, you either saw one of my signs on the road, Is T Payne Walker.com. You received a flyer at one of the venues or events. A little bit of silliness there. Sometimes need to do that just to offset the seriousness of the things that have gone on down at City Hall. It's not a laughing matter. What is a laughing matter is laughing at myself and some of the phrases and quotes that I had been given. And then that little flyer, there's a dear friend of mine had made that for me some time ago, so I just used it for this campaign. So glad you're here. Want to share with you how I would represent you should I be fortunate and blessed enough to be elected. I've mentioned it in some other videos below. Please look at those, review those. I believe that the most important thing that I can do as a representative is listen to the will of the people. And then on top of that, when there is no will expressed, then it is to use sound practices and reasoning in applying the principles of government, a representative government, without anyone there. Sometimes there's people, you won't hear anything at City Hall, at City Council. I'll probably receive some emails, and I look forward to those. I look forward to public comments and interaction there. I know that one way that I'll be able to achieve that quickly, as I mentioned in the video below, my first motion of business will be to rescind Ordinance 2015-13, which removed the power of the people from their representatives and consolidated it in an unelected bureaucrat that is the city manager and the mayor. They've taken control of that through that ordinance process, and it needs to be returned to our representatives, which is in turn returned to the people. So that will be my first order of business there. I'll also be I've tried it a couple of different ways, but I'll be the candidate of no. I'm going to start from a position of no. And by that means, I mean by the vote. Just in order for me to become a yes, I need to become convinced of some things, because I'm representing these people who've elected me, and I have to apply good reasoning, be that financial. That's oftentimes a big part of the role of the representative down there, is how will we spend their money? And we can disagree, agree and disagree, and there's been plenty of that through the years that I've been down there watching. But in order for me to become a yes, it's going to have to make sense. It's going to have to be publicly noticed. I'm going to be asking questions, a lot of questions. I explained in that other video that, I want to look at the agenda. I don't want to know a whole lot about it before, because when I show up at city council meeting and I've got questions, I want those questions presented in public. I want those viewing online and those in person for my questions to maybe trigger some questions in their own mind, maybe a better way to do something. Hey, I've got an idea. I heard what you said. I like that. But hey, how about this? And I go, oh man, that was nice. That was good. So I want to encourage public discussion, public debate. Recently, I've, really come to realize that some people are uncomfortable with hard questions. They don't like hard questions. They don't like being put on the spot. They like preparing for it in advance, and that's okay. It's okay. I might be one who stands out in the question. I'm telling you these things now because I want you to share this video with others and say, hey, look, he's telling us in advance that if he's elected, he's going to start from no. He's going to have to be convinced to yes. It's going to have to make sense, sound reason, and publicly noticed, and nothing's going to be hidden from the public. As they did with the fire assessment fee. As you may or may not know my history and the history of the Fort Walton Beach Watch Group and others in the group, it all started with the fire assessment fee. The question of whether it was needed and how it was actually applied in the end, as the now fortunately former and resigned city manager said out loud. I think he said the quiet part out loud a couple of meetings after that budget passed. He says, something to the effect, yes, indeed, it was kind of a shell game. Well, that shell game was initially trying to be slipped through no notice, no publication, nothing slipped in our water bill, no email sent, no. It's a big deal. It was $3.2 million, and they were going to have a meeting to vote on it without the public becoming aware. A little trickery that they did there, and it was led by the now resigned city manager. I have no doubt that was his intent, to let it go quietly. Fortunately, some in the community watched it, started spreading the news, got a bunch of us involved and engaged, and we began contacting our city representatives, contacting the city manager, talking with the Chamber of Commerce. They're all related. And unfortunately, when it came time for the vote, we got 6 punches in the guts. And we had one city council lady, she's now running again, Miss Jameson. She told the overwhelming opposition there that she too was once an ignorant citizen. And so, to hear that and to know that the men and women who were there with me and I was there with them and in this opposition were referred to as ignorant citizens, and that she knew better and the rest of them knew better. And then, I don't know how they felt. I've not talked with any of them. I don't know how they felt a couple of months later or weeks later, meetings later, when Mr. Beatty said the quiet part out loud, and to find out that shell game was sold as a fire safety issue, when in fact it was a shell game to accommodate pay raises for certain still unnamed employees, up to 17% pay raises. So, felt that was definitely energized me. It engaged me. I knew that at that point, I don't know that I really put it this way, but a government who takes from the people, hides from the people, hides things from the people, and acts as though they know best is a threat. It's not a physical threat. It's a monetary threat and a threat to other parts of our representative government. So I've stayed engaged since then. I think it's been 3.5 years. Continued to see example after example after example of bad stewardship. You'll see those videos below. There's quite a few examples there. There's more, unfortunately. Call me, text me, email me. I'll give you that information at the end. I'll talk to you about any specific incident you want to talk about. If you've heard it presented one way and you want to get my side on it, give me a buzz, shoot me a text, prefer a text, and we can set up a phone call. Be happy to chat with you about those. Transparency is really important in government. I know that, and it appears too often that that's not been the case down there. So look forward to engaging and changing the rules of procedures that allow citizens to come before the city council. I'm looking forward for our representatives, whether I'm one of them or not, to be able to agenda an item single. It's not a political process. I'm not having to ask my other serving members for a vote, because that's political at that point. If I've got an agenda item I won't put on there, I'll make the request, it'll be placed on there, and we'll be talking about it at the next agenda. I'll be inviting people from the community, the city, to come up there and speak to us at that point. I've got an item that's important. Come up here and talk to us. Let us hear from that. Let your other representatives hear from that. So those are the key principles that I'll operate under. I want you to know that when I'm asking those questions, I'm not being argumentative for argumentative's sakes. I'm being argumentative, questioning hard questions so that I can assure myself that I'm being a good steward. And I want the public to see how my thinking works, how my rationale, reasoning, why I did support something, why I didn't support something. I think, a little additional on that no, start from no, and I have to be convinced to yes. A big part of that is the financial impact on citizens, taxpayers. And, it's going to be hard for me to get off of a no when the item before us to be considered, possibly voted on, if it has a financial impact on those I've been elected to represent, it's going to have to be I'm going to have to really come to terms with it and go, man, that's a great investment. That's going to be a great return on that investment. I'll make my beliefs known about it and look forward to receiving support from the community and or opposition. I think that opposition does increase the intelligence, the operation of that item. It'll get better with opposition. So I look forward to being that candidate. You'll see it below, I'm sure. I'll post it below. I've got my professional bio to tell you more about me and what I've been doing in the community for my time here. I'm a proud dad. I'm a proud veteran, proud business owner, proud volunteer in the community, serving youth athletics primarily, and I'm proud of all of those ventures. If you want to know more about any of those, same thing, reach out to me. My contact information is paynewalker@gmail.com. But as I said earlier, I prefer a text if you can. I'd love to know that you just sent me an email. That would be great. They pile up in there sometimes. So my phone number is 850-621-6756. Reach out to me anytime. Look forward to seeing you at the polling station. There are a couple of venues. March the 1st, I want to say, is the meet the candidates at the venue downtown on Brook Street. I think it starts at 6 p.m. Would love to see you there. I think we have a couple-minute intro that we get to do and take questions and answers and mingle with the people who show up there and answer any specific questions they have. So I look forward to doing that as well. Thank you for your time, your interest. Once again, I ask that you share this video, this link, and the others below, information about me if you agree with me. Encourage others to share this information, pass it along, see if we can make some much needed changes down at City Hall and with our City Council in the way that they represent we the people. Thanks again.